Namaste Vidya, हमेशा खुश रहो बढ़िया. A very good morning to you all. Myself, JVN Dr. Ravi Jain, Assistant Professor, Department of Practice of Medicine at Faculty of Homeopathic Science in Jyoti Vidyapeeth Women's University. In today's lecture, we are going to discuss about diabetes mellitus. Diabetes mellitus is a very common disease for which a lot of patients are coming to you. Let's start with diabetes mellitus now. Diabetes mellitus, it comprises of a group of metabolic disorders that share the common features of hyperglycemia, resulting from defect in insulin secretion, insulin action, or both. So, diabetes mellitus, it is basically comprises of a group of metabolic disorders that share the common features of hyperglycemia due to the defect of insulin secretion, insulin action, or both. It is classified on the basis of pathogenic process that leads to hyperglycemia. Any pathological process that leads to hyperglycemia. This is the pancreas. Pancreas is responsible for the production of insulin, and deficiency of insulin leads to the development of diabetes mellitus. There are two types of diabetes mellitus. We have type 1 and type 2 type. Type 1 is characterized by insulin deficiency and a tendency to develop ketosis. Type 2 is a heterogeneous group of disorders that are characterized by variable degree of insulin resistance, impaired insulin secretion, and excessive hepatic glucose production. There are other specific types of diabetes mellitus where we have genetic defects, that is maturity onset diabetes of the young. It is also known as MODY in short. The disease of the exocrine pancreas, that is chronic pancreatitis, cystic fibrosis, hemochromatosis, endocrinopathies, acromegaly, Cushing syndrome, glucagonema, pheochromocytoma, and hyperthyroidism. There are various drugs that are responsible for development of diabetes mellitus, like nicotinic acid. We have glucocorticoids, thiazides, protease inhibitors. Pregnancy is also responsible for the development of diabetes mellitus, that is gestational diabetes mellitus. The phenotype of these monogenetic and secondary types of diabetes mellitus typically resembles type 2 diabetes mellitus. The severity depends on the degree of beta cell dysfunction and prevailing insulin resistance. So, the severity of diabetes mellitus depends on the degree of beta cell dysfunction, because beta cells of pancreas are responsible for the development of or production of insulin. The dysfunction and prevailing insulin resistance. Now we have type 1 diabetes mellitus. It is also known as juvenile onset diabetes mellitus because the peak incidence is in the children and adolescents. It results from an autoimmune destruction of pancreatic beta cells. Now, why diabetes mellitus is of concern to us? Diabetes mellitus prevalence at greater than 8% of the population, and it is increasing with age. The significant portion of the persons with diabetes mellitus are undiagnosed. Diabetes mellitus is attended by serious morbidity and significant mortality. It is the fifth leading cause of the death worldwide. Now, what are the various risk factors? Risk factors includes age greater than 45 years, overweight with a body mass index greater than 25 kg per meter square, family history of diabetes mellitus, we have habitual physical inactivity, previous identification of IFG, that is insulin-like growth factor 1, or IGT, that is impaired glucose tolerance test. History of gestational diabetes mellitus or delivery of baby greater than 9 lab pounds or 4.5 kg. Hypertension, that is greater than blood pressure greater than 140 by 90 mm of Hg, polycystic ovary syndrome, and history of any kind of valvular disease. So risk factors includes greater than 45 years, overweight greater than BMI greater than 25 kg per meter square, family history of diabetes mellitus, habitual physical inactivity, previous identified IFG, that is insulin-like growth factor, history of gestational diabetes mellitus or delivery of baby greater than 4.5 kg, hypertension with blood pressure greater than 140 by 90 mmHg, polycystic ovary syndrome. We have history of valvular diseases. Now we come to the clinical features of diabetes mellitus. The onset is gradual in adults with acute in children. The symptoms include thirst with dry mouth, that is polydipsia. We have polyuria, nocturia, that is nocturnal urination. The symptoms includes tiredness, fatigue, and lethargy, and there is noticeable change in weight, that is usually weight loss. So clinical features are usually onset in adult onset, but acute in children. We have symptoms of thirst, increased thirst, that is known as polydipsia. There is polyuria, increased urination frequency. We have nocturia, increased urination at night. Other symptoms include tiredness, fatigue, and lethargy. We have noticeable change in the weight. Usually weight loss is there. We have blurring of the vision and pruritus vulvae in females or balanitis in males, that is genital candidiasis. There is loss of libido, that is loss of sexual drive or erectile dysfunction. We have nausea, headache, and hyperphagia, that is increased desire to eat. So there is persistent nausea, headache, and hyperphagia. Other features includes predilection for sweet food because the sweets are restricted in diabetes, so the patient has an increased predilection for taking sweet foods. There are various kind of mood changes that are seen in case of diabetes mellitus. We have irritability, there is difficulty in concentration, and apathy. Apathy, that is there are no desire to do any kind of work. There is great difficulty in concentration on any kind of work. Now, diagnosis of diabetes. How we will diagnose the case of diabetes mellitus? The presence of above mentioned symptoms of diabetes mellitus that we have just discussed, plus the test of urine for glucose and ketone bodies. We have to measure the random and fasting venous blood glucose. Diagnosis is confirmed by two things. When we have fasting plasma glucose that is greater than 7.0 millimole per liter or greater than 126 mg per dl. We have random plasma glucose that is greater than 11.1 millimole per liter or 200 mg per dl. I will again repeat it. Above mentioned symptoms of diabetes mellitus plus test of urine for glucose and ketones. Measure random or fasting venous blood glucose. Diagnosis is confirmed by fasting plasma glucose greater than 126 mg per dl. Random plasma glucose that is greater than 200 mg per dl. Next, we have oral glucose tolerance test that is also known as OGTT. Here, the plasma fasting plasma glucose is 6.1 to 7 millimole per liter or 110 to 126 mg per dl. And random, these are the normal values of fasting glucose and random plasma glucose, that is 7.8 to 11.0 millimole per liter or 140 to 198 mg per dl. Now, how to perform OGTT test or oral glucose tolerance test? First of all, we have unrestricted carbohydrate diets for 3 days prior to the conduction of this test. Then we have fasting overnight for at least 8 hours and rest for 30 minutes. Then the patient is asked to take a rest for 30 minutes and he remains seated for the duration of the test with no smoking. Now sampling is done. In the sampling we have plasma glucose that is measured before 2 hours and after 75 gram of oral glucose drink. The interpretation consists of venous plasma glucose. We have fasting hyperglycemia. Fasting hyperglycemia when the fasting 6.1 to 6.9 millimole per liter, that is 110 to 125 mg per dl. And 2 hours after glucose load is less than 7.8 millimole per liter, that is less than 140 mg per dl. In impaired glucose tolerance test, the levels will be fasting glucose less than 7 millimole per liter or less than 126 mg per dl. And 2 hours after glucose load is 7.8 to 11.0 millimole per liter, that is 140 to 199 mg per dl. In case of diabetes mellitus, we will be having fasting glucose level that is greater than 7.0 millimole per liter or greater than 126 mg per dl. And 2 hours after glucose load, we will be having 11.1 millimole per liter or greater than 200 mg per dl. Now management. The management of diabetes mellitus consists of dietary or lifestyle modification. That is most important thing. Oral anti-diabetic drugs are given and injected therapies are given. So we have three things: dietary or lifestyle modification, oral anti-diabetic drugs, and injected therapies. Dietary or lifestyle modification, we will be telling about what food items he or she has to take and what are the things that are to be ignored. We have to advise him regular walking, at least 5 kilometers per day. And next we have oral anti-diabetic drugs that consist of oral hypoglycemic agents. Like we have three things here: insulin secretagogues, insulin sensitizers, and drug modulating digestion. So insulin secretagogues consist of sulfonylureas and meglitinides. Insulin sensitizers, we have biguanides and thiazolidinolidinones. And in drug modulating digestion, we have acarbose and voglibose. Then management also consists of optimal treatment of the diabetes mellitus. It requires more than plasma glucose management. So more than plasma glucose, we have to manage other things as well. What are the different other things? We have to educate the patients about the nutrition. We have to advise them exercise, care of diabetes during illness, and medications to lower the plasma glucose levels. Patient with type 1 diabetes mellitus require 0.5 to 1.0 unit per kg of per day of insulin in the divided multiple doses. Patients with type 2 diabetes mellitus may be managed with diet and exercise alone in conjugation with the oral glucose lowering agents, insulin, or a combination of the oral agents and insulin. So in this way, type 2 diabetes mellitus can also be managed. Metformin has an advantage that it promotes mild weight loss, it lowers insulin levels, it improves the lipid profile slightly, and lowers the cancer risk, and it does not cause hypoglycemia. As an endogenous insulin product falls, the multiple injection of long-acting and short-acting insulin may be required. Bariatric surgery should be considered in selected patients. So this was all about diabetes mellitus. In the next lecture, we will be discussing about diabetic ketoacidosis. This session was powered by Digital Version 2.0, Jyoti Vidyapeeth Women's University. I hope you are satisfied with my digital session. If you have any query, please mention in the comment box and I'll try to resolve it. So this was all for today. Thank you very much. We will be meeting in the next lecture tomorrow.